I've been making videos for a long time, ranging all the way back to 2009. I know I haven't posted any videos around that time since I had no prior knowledge as to doing so, and I was a small lad. But I know I've been inspired by other content creators that have an impact on me growing up. My main inspiration for getting into video making in the first place was with the Cute Mario Bros. And with their videos, Find Yoshi, Cute Mario Bros. Movie, Mario's Rock Band, and Mario's Birthday, spiking my interest even more. I grabbed the nearest camera I could get and started making videos that were as close to them as possible. Then what really spiked my interest were other Mario plush videos, along with seeing Webkinz videos also, and I wanted to be exactly like these guys. Back in 2013, I made my first ever plush video that was a copy of Sir Sanjay's plush series, Yoshi's Island. This series had at least 9 episodes, meanwhile my brother and I had spawned over a lot of episodes and 5 seasons. The plot of the series was all over the place at all times, and I didn't know what the characters were doing half the time. Then I got more invested into doing my own plush videos instead of copying from others, like making a Smash Bros. Related series called Super Smash Bros. Uprising. It was a fun little series my brother and I did, but then we expanded the lines more by having more ideas and inspirations throw through our brains. But SSB? What does that have anything to do with SSB Multiverse? Well, I'll tell you. With that little brain of yours, you may be asking yourself the question, what on earth is SSB Multiverse and why is Max Design Pro in Lullaby Gang? Well, okay, first of all, this isn't Lullaby Gang despite some of the characters being in the series, and second of all, I'm glad you asked. SSB Multiverse is a series and passion project that I've been brewing up for a long while. Not since the beginning of time when I started my YouTube channel back in 2013, making cringy copies of Sir Sanjay's Yoshi's Island series with my own twists and turns with the help of my brother, but making an entire multiverse series dedicated to the characters from other universes interacting with one another, along with my own persona in the mix. As it wasn't called SSB Multiverse back then, it was under the name of SSB Shorts and Adventures. And these videos were heavily inspired by Spin Dash Pro's videos. But with the first of many videos around these goofy cast of characters, was with a movie called the Tails Doll movie. It wasn't inspired off of Spin Dash Pro, but it was inspired off of another plush video that had to deal with the Tails Doll. And since it was so good, my brother and I had to make one of our own. Adventures around Sonic and Tails bored and conked out of their minds from a party they had last night, and they did a lot of stuff with the game Sonic R, the first game Tails doll originated from. They both started seeing the doll in their visions, and they gathered everyone in the house to help them out with their situation. A character named Mario Jr. tragically dies and was left to be forgotten, Bob from the Minions dies, Anti-Mario runs away scot-free, Knuckles and Mega Man got out scot-free, except Mega Man has a malfunction upon running into a wall, and a lot of other stuff happens after this. They know that the doll is real and is haunting them, so they go to Freddy Fazbear's to get more help. I am not shitting you, that is how that happened. They eventually found out where the Tails doll came from, and was under control. It was controlled by a green Neopet called Leo Compassion, who was then nicknamed a strange name later that I can't barely remember. Leo's pissed at the fact that he hasn't been in any SSB videos, and wants revenge. Which sounds stupid, I know, but I didn't know how to make the character more dynamic, and it was all in the spot. As the Tails doll gets upgraded and reformed, the building collapses on them, and they escape with Leo, leaving the Tails doll to be crushed by the ongoing rubble that was happening. As the movie ends, it ends with a short cliffhanger of Mario Jr. peeking through the door and says, "I will get my revenge one day," before the credits roll. Now, with SSB Shorts and Adventures. It is just as you expect it to be. The gang gets into some mischief, stuff happens, and that's pretty much it. Sadly, the last episode that I remember that was uploaded to the channel and was saved from the horrid hacking from my channel was the attack of the fangirls, which was a Valentine's Day special that revolved around Sans hiding away from the fangirls that were chasing his non-existent skeletal dick. Remind me to never say that again. The characters can range in many ways, and more come in as the series jumps to a new season. There's Sonic, who seems to be the leader of the bunch, but in reality, both SSB and their brother, Yoshi Does Gameplay, are the ones running and leading the group. Tails, who's the sidekick to Sonic, no duh. Knuckles, who's the rambunctious jerk to all the characters at times. Silver, who's the housewife of the gang for some reason. Mario and Luigi are the smart, intelligent guys. Blue Yoshi, who's the cookie lover of the group, and is just a dumbass, and we love him for that. Mega Man, who's just the gang's punching bag for some unknown reason, especially Knuckles. And the Freddy Fazbear Gang, who were just their original counterparts from the games. Except for Toy Freddy, who's just a lovable, derpy sweetheart that likes saying "der." No joke, that was just his entire character. Thank God I have some of these episodes saved into a different channel unlisted. But here's what all I can get from this series in its entirety. The episodes I have up right now, that are unlisted, goes as follows. The Catnappers is the first episode to be featured of the series, and is a copy of Spin Dash Pro's The Cat's Meow. Instead of Eggman and Shadow trying to catnap Sonic's cat, Furthing, Bowser and Koopa try to catnap Silver's cat, Fluffy, which, yeah, that's my cat. Knuckles Gets a Job is centered around Knuckles being an absolute dickwad to the gang, and claims that he ate all the food in the house. And being the glutton that he was, the gang forced him to get a job. It's not as close to Spin Dash Pro's video The Job. Knuckles gets a job at Walmart instead of working at a creepy McDonald's. With another twist in the mix, the rest of the gang also gets their own jobs in their own unique ways. Like SSB and Yoshi Does Gameplay get a job at E3 playtesting upcoming games that were coming that following year. Nuke It is self-explanatory. It's just Spin Dash Pro's Nuke It video, except that it's much shorter, and all the characters make it out alive, leaving Kermit to explode in the process. Yeah, it's pretty short. Speaking of short, the next one is Stop Following Me, which is another Spin Dash Pro copy that doesn't involve Sonic and Tails, but involves the Pea Shooter and Marigold from Plants vs. Zombies. God, saying that game kinda floods your memory with fucking replanted, I swear. However, the Marigold is renamed to Baby Sunflower, and is viewed as the idiot character within the PvZ cast in the group. My guess is as good as yours. The Murderer and the Kidnapper is about a group of people going to a reopening of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and there's two mysteries set on foot. Someone is killing people, and the other is kidnapping people. The gang are on the lookout for these said kinds of people, and they later get help from Bowser to stop this from happening. Upon getting a result and a good plan, they figure out who the culprits were. It was, in fact, Toy Bonnie and Balloon Boy. This wasn't inspired or copied off of anything, as it is original by all standpoints. The cursed coin involves the gang finding a secret location hidden within the house, and SSB ends up finding a cursed coin that grants them terrible things. They then figure out that the coin was cursed by Master Hand and Crazy Hand. And from there on out, there were only 2 parts to that episode. Not another part of that episode was made. Whoops. Most randomest Halloween ever is a copy of Sir Sanjay's Yoshi's Island Halloween special, where it's centered around Blue Yoshi going trick-or-treating by himself and getting a lot of candy just by screaming at random people. Those random people being familiar faces we all came to love throughout the series. With this next episode is different, because this was inspired off of Spin Dash Pro's Cooking with Cream series. However, instead of Cream and her green puffle friend Mint, Cooking with Bommy features a Bob-omb named Bommy and his assistant Professor Goomba. These two were a playful bunch and cooked food for the people within their place. The first and unfortunately last meal being cheesy popcorn. The big move-in was the episode where the gang end up moving to another house to have plenty of new adventures there, thus taking the series to a new season. The new season of SSB Shorts and Adventures shows a lot of new faces going forward. There's Kefka the Lucky Black Cat, who we saw in Cooking with Bonnie, Alice Mario from Mario the Music Box, Mama Yoshi, Wario, Bonnie, Sans, Springtrap, Snoopy, and Woodstock, just to name a few. Friday the 13th, the first episode of the new season, features SSB getting ransacked by unfortunate events, and Alice Mario trying to attempt to give people bad luck. The next episode takes another twist and gives spotlight to the other new character of the SSB gang, Mama Yoshi, and he shows off a new product for everyone to enjoy. John Cena for 3DS. It's just Smash Bros. For 3DS with a sticky note on it saying John Cena for 3DS. And there's a lot of stuff happening in this episode. The Race is a copy of Spin Dash Pro's The Race, where instead of Sonic competing Mario into a race, it's SSB and the gang competing against Wario into a race, and bet their everything to him if he wins, and if they win, Wario gets sent back to jail. As expected, Wario loses and gets sent back to jail. There was going to be a follow-up to this episode, but it was sadly never made. There were other episodes that were sadly lost to time, but to name some of them off, here's what all I remember. The package was yet another copy of Spin Dash Pro's video where the gang gets a mysterious package from someone, and it's revealed to be a bomb, possibly parodying the bomb. Then there was an episode relating to the Koopalings, where they get into some mischief with one another, per usual. There was another episode centered around Bowser's Hell Spawns, and it was centered around Bowser Jr. and how he and his other Koopa siblings got into Smash. And unlike every other video that was centered around Spin Dash Pro or Sir Sanjay, this was copied off of Luigi Fan's... Too many fucking zeros for me to read out. Luigi Fan's Super Plush Mario Pac-Man for Smash. Another episode involved the gang meeting Sans for the first time. That episode was a hella weird. There was an instance where there was going to be a Tales-style movie sequel in the works, where the gang goes to a hotel to relax for a few weeks, until Knuckles and others find the Tails doll in their house again, wanting revenge. All thanks to Mario Jr., the character that was killed off before, and a new villain character, Sonic.exe.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
Within the sequel's making, the intro had Springtrap being the super genius, same IQ as W.D. Gaster, and made some deal with someone, and shit happens with the Tails doll, in which that leads Springtrap to have no one enter his room. Moving on from the deleted ones, here are more of the episodes that were saved from the crossfire of the hack. Springtrap's secret room involves the gang questioning as to why Springtrap keeps coming in and out of his room, grabbing random items. They get them back, and Springtrap apologizes for stealing them in the first place. Sans in the Emoji Movie. Pretty self-explanatory on how that went down. Murderous Night, aka the second Friday the 13th special, is about the gang telling a fable of a killer known as the Bloody Cast. It comes into their house and starts a very, very frightening night for them. Eventually they figure out the source to kill him off for good, and it's just by having Pac-Man eating him, because he looks close to Blinky. Okay. The Cursed game is about Bonnie receiving a game from Nabbit's thrift shop, and not knowing that it's a hella cursed and critiquing it like he works at IGN, Bonnie gets greeted by the Nightmare animatronics. Kamet puts some magic spell on the game, making it disappear, and all is over. More deleted ones revolve around the FNAF crew and the gang, being bored off their mind, introducing each other to new folks from their different games, and what have you. But now this leads us to the last and final episode that I can think of, which is the attack of the fangirls, which I already explained. Thus, the series got lost in the trenches from other projects I had up my sleeve, and I worked on stuff that was more art-worthy, and eventually surrounded by VRChat. So that leads me to my next point. The birth of VRChat Multiverse. VRChat Multiverse was a series that lasted 2 episodes, and had a crap ton of characters. You have SSB, Pico, Blake, Mondo Awada, some of my own characters getting thrown in here and there, Silver, Tails, Ralze. Disgusting. And the series was just SSB and company doing incorrect quotes and quoting vines for 2 episodes straight. This trend eventually got overshadowed by Lullaby Gang shortly after, and I completely lost interest in making VRChat Multiverse as a whole. After making 2 episodes of it, plus a bloopers video for episode 1, episode 3, nor bloopers for episode 2 never came to light, and was buried deep down within my channel's content. Until September of 2024 hit. Around September of 2024, I remember that VRChat Funness existed after Lullaby Gang wasn't doing too well behind the scenes. So I have decided to resurface that and rebranded the series into an entirely different and brand spanking new series. And the main reason why you clicked on this video in the first place. The SSB Multiverse. So now, returning your question as before, what is the SSB Multiverse? The SSB Multiverse is a VRChat skit series where all the main voice cast is me, doing a lot of goofy shit amongst the lines of having it be like SSB Shorts and Adventures, but it was a left turn towards a fancy looking Burger King for the better, so to speak. Unlike Lullaby Gang, the cast of characters that are main focuses consists of not 4, but 6 characters. These characters being my persona, SSB, Faniverse Blake, Blake, Chills, yourself, and Max. And the other characters that build up the entire cast entirely into 25 characters are Flake, Omega, Turmoil, Edeled, Gordon, Fazriz, Kyofu, Yume, Prototype, Monokuma, Yuri, Glitchy Red, Rewrite, Poob, Bive, Gold, Shinto, Mike, and GB. SSB, as you would expect, is the leader of the gang. And as more episodes come out, you can tell that SSB is a dumbass, but has a big heart towards the gang's antics. Blake is like Lullaby Gang Blake, aka Skip Blake, but they don't have the memories of the Lullaby Gang days, except that they only remember Jake, their twin brother, and the night they and their friends went to the Haunted Man Manor, and having brutal PTSD from that alone. Faniverse Blake is just normal, and acts like an older brother to Blake, solely because he was made first out of the Blake AUs that I have. Chills is the guy who you don't want to mess around with too much. Otherwise, then again, he's just there for the ride. And has beef with Max. Speaking of Max, he's the kind of guy that would strike conversations with you, and then become your friend immediately. Also, he's a comic relief character going forward, and probably has a lot going on with his backstory. I mean, huh? I didn't say anything, you said something. Yourself is Max's BFF, and is also a comic relief character. Mentioning his present self from time to time, has the instincts of his present self still within him, and he's a caring friend towards the gang itself, no matter how the way goes. As for the other guys, they're just there to be pretty. But I'll explain their personalities anyway. Omega is just the character you'd see in the other series Omega Adventures, and is the fun, unhinged character of the group. Turmoil is just a creature who eats GB's quesadillas all the time, and that's it. Edeled, like VRChat Multiverse, is the guy who would hang around and just be there. just despite someone who keeps ruining this bald man's looks. Gordon is and was a character that appeared for a scene in Contracts as a hell receptionist. He still has the job as the hell receptionist, but he also has a side job of his own, where he owns a restaurant. Yeah, make all the Ramsey jokes all you want, I don't mind. Vassar's, on the other hand, is a character that only appeared in another series, Project Chrono, only for one scene. They still have the role of being a royal scientist in hell, but they're off doing their own things with the cast. Kyofu is the sarcastic and scarefest goofball of the series. Yume is the quiet, tall one who sleeps all the time. Prototype is the curious, fun character who shares a voice changer with Tailstall from VRChat Multiverse. Monokuma is just Monokuma. Nothing else. Yuri is the supposed only female character in the gang, but then I remember that there's at least some characters that are gender fluid and use she/her pronouns also. Glitchy's the mysterious guy who appears every now and then, possibly being a better representation of the SSB Adventures Springtrap. Rewrite is the music-loving character who's bouncy and is there to have a good time. Also loves the number 7. Vive is a paranoid mess, Poob is the life of the party and hangs around the main 6 at times. Gold is not like the one seen in Lullaby Gang, but he's more of like the one from Catnip Pancakes to Phobia Attack. And VRChat Multiverse. Shinto is just there to be Shinto, and was a character I signed up to be for a backup role for Phobia Attack, since nobody was Shinto at the time. Like, no one was Shinto during this time of recording Phobia Attack going on, dead ass. Mike is the 2000s Sparkle Dog enthusiast who has the same mindset as Skip Mike, but it's not as present as you'd think. And GB is returning, only this time he has a glow-up, and is a bartender. More characters to make the series more lively and interesting is that I added in lore characters, such as Absol, Master Jick, R2, Jewel, Atlas, and Pepper, who all appear in every intro of an episode. Learning about the gang each day, they get into some wacky adventure. Absol is our main intro lore character, who senses great danger amongst our group of guys, and learns about them as the series goes on. Master Jick is their Minstrel Cycle. Master Jick is their mentor, and learns about the cast alongside them, along with his right-hand man, R2, who Absol seems to be wary at first. Jewel is a twink- oh. Wait. Jewel is the character who is the male friend character of the intro lore characters, and is curious about all the things that are going on. And sounds like a twink. Atlas is the best friend to Absol, and helps him out by learning about a good chunk of the cast. And Pepper is the doesn't sound spunky, but really is spunky kind of character that we haven't seen just yet. So we have 6 main characters, and 6 intro lore characters in the series. And I find that to be really cool. Side characters that will often appear in these episodes with relevance to our main 25 are Sonic, yeah, this blue fucker's back, Boyfriend, Girlfriend, Nugget, Jimmy, Ozea, Angus, Pilby, Kanito Pet, Tenko the Meowscarada, Oculus, Life, and Idea. Some of these characters haven't been in actual episodes yet, but they will once the series moves on. I'm not going to explain who they all are since you can get the hint on who they could be in the future episodes going forward, but they appear in the other videos relating to the series. Hell, even lore about the characters slip away from the main series sometimes. Yeah, this is lore, by the way. These colorful assortment of characters would follow the same formula as VRChat Multiverse, doing incorrect quotes for the first 2 episodes, and then going down the line to quote some funny and quotable memes back in the days. And as the series continues, it starts to lean more towards more story-driven plot lines. Ever since Lullaby Gang was cancelled due to problems on and off scene, mostly off scene, I hated to see all the ideas that we had for some of the skits for said series go to waste. Especially for the ones that were going to be in upcoming episodes such as Night of the Hexmaniac 2. All of those ideas were left to rot in the nothingness that is my Google Drive, and never saw the light of day again. Until I thought to myself upon looking over at the series. Since I've made SSB Multiverse the new main series on my channel, I was going to be focused on that series, and that series alone, expanding on it, and making it as flexible as I can possibly get it, like adding in more characters to make the series more interesting, and having the main six interact with from time to time. More villain characters that aren't just Hex, Maniac, and her Pokemon sidekicks, or what have you. I was going to need help from anyone I could possibly grab into the series and explain my doings for it going forward. Looking back on the Lullaby Gang ideas, I had a major brain blast. What if I brought some of the episodes that didn't get made, and the episodes that were made already, into Multiverse? So, I did exactly that. After making episode 1 and 2, 2.5 doesn't count since it was an April Fool's Day prank, episodes 3 and onward were going to be centered around more plot-driven points. Episode 3 revolves around the gang getting some mail from the fans, asking the gang questions that were either important to their lore or fun facts about set characters. Basically taking elements from Lullaby Gang's 25th episode, reading your comments, which was a terrible disaster on the sidelines. So instead of Tenko and Kanito being our question readers, it is a blue Windows 10 Protogen character named Oculus. It's got the Adam 11 Labs voice and has a chipper attitude with the characters, along with having witty sentences within comments it reads. Episode 4 parts 1 and 2 are taking elements from Night of the Hex Maniac. Though a masterpiece already, I've decided to make this episode again, but this time without using Fredbear and Co. within the episode itself. The episode follows the main six going into the haunted mansion instead of the whole gang going in there all at once. It also has a proper storyline going along with it, instead of there being thousands of chase scenes stacked like a Jenga tower. Now, here's an episode that people aren't too proud of for some reason with part 2 than they were with part 1. Episode 5 is in fact taking elements from Snap to Reality, and makes the original look like bold and brash. Okay, I understand the feedback as to why people don't like this in the first place, since it is reusing elements from Snap to Reality as a whole, but it does tell more story, and gets a point across instead of being horribly mean towards Blake whenever they're in a hypnotized state, randomly focusing on Pico coming in mid-situation, characters not listening about the obvious narrative about snapping their fingers, and plain out peer pressuring Blake into telling the gang about the 3 days threat Hex made to them. With the SSB Multiverse version, it removes the unnecessary bits and replaces them with more logical points, like how Absol and Atlas saved Blake from getting choked to death by Flake, and SSB being the only dumbass to snap their fingers instead of everyone else in the house, along with Hex popping in to torment them to make things more interesting. With other episodes going forward, I do promise that not every episode is going to be a Lullaby Gang redo, but I do have plans for most episodes that are, and I will be saying what skits I will be redoing for the sake of what I'm doing. The skits I'm going to be redoing for SSB Multiverse are as follows: Double Date, Shopaholics, Contracts, Night of the Hex Maniac 2, Blake's Nightmare, and Phobia Attack. High possibilities for these redos are Mission Grilled Cheese, Kitchen Chaos, Train Trouble, Pool Party, Blake Loses Their Voice, and Treating for Tricks. Some episodes are going to be original for the series, and also having ideas that were planned for Lullaby Gang, but not being brought to light within the series itself. I do plan to redo ideas from the SSB Shorts and Adventures series to bring those back to light, but make them not like their copied counterparts. Since a good chunk of the episodes were copied or heavily inspired off of Spin Dash Pro, Luigi Kid 00001, and or Sir Sanjay, I will be making those episodes into a more original take on their old ones. Those episodes that I'll be redoing are Knuckles Gets a Job, Stop Following Me, The Murderer and the Kidnapper, The Cursed Coin, The Big Move-In, Friday the 13th, The Race, The Package, Springtrap Secret Room, Murderous Night, The Cursed Game, and the entire Tale movie and its sequel. I know this sounds like a lot, let alone the 2 movies going to be redone within the series alone, but at least it gives off motivation to think about what I want to do if SSB Multiverse expands, more to the point where we could make a feature-length film with it. And with that question, or thought being in your heads about me redoing an old episode when it was planned in my agenda to do so, isn't that kind of the point? Not all videos come out perfectly, and that's fine. There's bound to be a remake coming to hit you like a boomerang once you've realized that your best work isn't exactly your greatest. And I'm not saying that redoing old work is a good thing or a bad thing. It's simply you trying to improve on yourself and other works that you've done in the past. Lullaby Gang for a long while was one of my sled dogs of my channel upon VRChat skits. And going into making VRChat skits again was the best thing that has ever happened to me. Only for it to crumble down into pieces. And looking back on them, they're nothing but a burning memory with all the shit that went down behind the scenes. SSB Multiverse is still growing strong, and I hope it stays like that. Otherwise, I wouldn't be so emotionally attached to this fat ass. Thank you for watching! If you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe for more content like this. It lights up. And like this video. That also lights up. I don't know which direction it is. Also, I guess hyping is still a thing, so if you want to give it a hype, do that also. Hopefully I'll get around to making more SSB Multiverse content soon, since I have been lacking a bit, but we'll see where that goes. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you, and good night.